Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. Let me get this sound set. Wait for the sound check here. I think it's a little light, but I guess I'll have to deal with it. Sound is good? Okay. Okay, good. I can't. I have no idea where I put the settings on this thing over here. There it is. And oh yeah, I got it on the last setting, but I don't know what that does. I've got 4 settings, and I have no idea what any of them does. I know one of them sounds good for podcasting. So, hello, man. Hello, man. We're going to talk about tiny arm syndrome, and I made this up. It's one of Joe's originals. It's tiny arm syndrome. We see this a lot around Mgtow. It's what I call a tiny arm syndrome. It's the life coaching delusion. Life coaching, Eli Melas. We have a new guy around. His name's Pete Sapper, too. Sapper or Sapper, however you pronounce that. They define this tiny arm syndrome. These men come to Mgtow with this cognitive delusion. There's just something wrong with Mgtow. From the inception, they come here with this idea that they're this life coach, and if we want to be like him, and we don't want to be like him, they're the furthest thing in the world that we want to be like. If there was something I could pick what not to be, it would be like I wouldn't want to be like Eli Melas, and I wouldn't want to be like Pete Sapper. But they come with this sort of narcissism, and this narcissism protrudes and it encompasses everything they are, and it's the only thought that it's the only thought they have, that there's something wrong with Mgtow, like we have a tiny arm or something. So today I reversed the psychology on that, and I says, Pete, you have this little arm, and it's really kind of pathetic. It's just a little arm. How did someone might this thing that they do is just a cognitive disorder, and it, that there's something wrong with Mgtow in their way. When they're perceiving that there's something wrong. Something might look like a normal man. If they come around, they're looking at normal men. We're normal men. We're just Mgtow. We do our ideology. They're looking at normal men, and it's like they perceive with this little tiny arm. It's a projection from something that occurred in their lives. I don't know what occurred in their lives. Maybe their father raped them. Maybe their mother was a terrible mother. Maybe they have to make up for their insufficiencies in life through something. I don't know. Sometimes it's what we would call lonely child syndrome, or something like that. I don't know what the problem is. It's not my problem to psychoanalyze them. Their inability to see that people with different ideologies as normal. They have tiny arms. It's a perceived malady that others, and only he, and this is the part where it gets interesting, and this is where the people out there kind of stole from Mgtow, and what they stole from Mgtow is this red pill idea, this awakening, and they've taken this to the delusional. And what he's coming around, and he says, all you Mgtows, you have this malady, this little arm that only I can see. My arms are fine. Everything about me, I feel great in life, and everything's fine. But he has this thing, this perceived malady, that all Mgtows are this way, and he's going to cure him. And the way you can cure him is that if you believe what he believes within this psychopathic red pill mentality that he has. If you believe that there's some illness that you have, and then if you acquiesce to that thought, and that you are not like a normal person, that you're like this little retard, and he's going to give you his philosophy and sell it to you at a certain price. And that's what Eli was doing. He's saying, there's something wrong with you, Mgtows. You don't think like me. And that cannot be accepted in this life. And it's like they're looking at a normal person and seeing a person that has one little small arm, and it's a delusional disorder. It's a total delusional, daughter. We see this with a lot of red pill people. We see these with the Trumpites. The Trumpites out there think that all the rest of the world cannot see what they see, and they're red pilled, and everybody else in the world is stupid. In there, everybody else in the world doesn't see what they're, and they're telling on their disorder. They're telling on the disorder, which I'll just call tiny arm syndrome. They're seeing a little tiny arm on these people. And what they're doing is they're projecting this garbage into their lives. Mgtows don't need no help from anybody. Mgtows don't need a life coach. Mgtows don't need Mgtows they're people that are very, let me get my hat, my flight hat on. We're going to go for a flight with Joe. Shh, do the human mind. And yeah, Mgtows don't need no help, but the perception is that the perception is, since we are not doing what they want, there must be something wrong with us. These red pillars, yeah, yes, SFM, the red pillars think they have some concept of the world that nobody else knows about. And they're going, look at all you people. It's like saying all you people in the world are stupid, and I'm the only one that's normal here. And it's delusional. And they do that to us. They come into Mgtow, and it's with this presupposition that we need some help, that we're willing to buy some help from the life coaches. I will call this, and I will coin it, I call it tiny arm syndrome. We're looking, and I look back at them, and all I see is this one little tiny arm that they don't know about themselves. They have some malady in their head that's a delusional disorder, and I'm looking, I'm going, I have to help this guy. This guy thinks that, and it's like the only, to do reverse psychology on him is like, oh, look, he's got one little tiny arm. And that's what we should do with him. And that's what we did with Mgtow. We said with Eli Melas, you go, Eli, you're a smallish little scrawny guy that's a horrible life coach. Please leave. And we, as it went on, we just had to turn it up and turn it up and turn it up, because Eli wasn't seeing what he was supposed to be seeing. There's nothing wrong with us. We just want to be left alone. There's nothing wrong with Mgtow. Mgtows are a bunch of guys that just don't want to put themselves at risk. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're not hurting anybody. We're not hurting anybody at all, except maybe the girl's desire to date us and to take our money, to use us as disposable males, to watch us acquiesce and simp in front of them. They want to see us do that. They want to see us put them on the pedestal, but we're not going to do that. And Eli Melas and Pete Sapper, they think that not doing that makes us somehow defective, or we have a malady where they're going to cure us from it. And that is the epitome of narcissism. And I often say this to all those red pillars out there. They call themselves red pillars. They're running around. They're the Trumpites. They're the alt-right. They're the Igmor specialists. They all think they have this special skill, this special idea where they can see something, and none of them are very qualified. If you want to come and write a book, the first thing you do is write your book and you put your accolades up there. And as much as I hate to see accolades put up there, at least have a few accolades. Most of these people are just jokes. They're just, Eli's a joke. He doesn't specialize in anything. He's got very little education, but somehow he's going to teach you how to be this guy that you can do. Oops, look at that. You can do and be like him. And the last thing in the world that I want is to be like Eli or Pete. They make me sick. They generally make me sick. I'm trying to get this back up this screen, but I'm not having no luck at it. There we go. I hate when my screen is not up because I can't see. I'm not going to kneel the worship of a man dominated the service of, that's what they want us to do. We have to be them guys that are just like them. There's no Sorry about that. I knocked myself off a line. I don't know how I do that. There's this thing happening lately. This is two in a row that I did, and I watched a couple other guys do that lately. I don't know how I do that. It's just weird when I start clicking around. I start losing my screen, and then all of a sudden it knocks me off a line. Can't find it. What's the title of the? Okay, so it's right back on. Can you hear me? Can you see me now? Am I back on live? Just hello, Lucid D. Hello, Mgtow Thread. Hello, guys. But what we're talking about today is we're talking about the life coaches. We're talking about the life coaches and their inability to see Mgtows as normal guys that just don't want to do certain things. Thanks, SFM. I was worried about that. That's twice in two videos. The last one and this one where it just my whole screen went off and I couldn't get things to back and move around and I couldn't see what I was doing. And I was like, damn, darn, gosh darn it. Oh, so we're talking about the life coaches and the presupposition that there's something wrong with you and the illusion in their brain and the illusion that goes along with it. So I tested a theory today. I tested a theory. Said I went back to one of the guys and I said, look, he has a little arm. And he went nuts and he couldn't see what I was saying. And I said, no, look, it's a freaky little arm. He's got a freaky little arm and he's trying to do life coaching. And that's just funny. Can you imagine and that's what we should do to him. And that's what we did to Eli. And that's what we have to do. Every time they come around, go, no, look at the size of that dude's head. And just make it up because they're doing the same thing to you. They're saying that they can see something that you can't see in yourself. And they know something about the world because they're so damn red-pilled that they know something about the world that nobody else knows. Nobody else knows these things, and that makes them the little special boys. And that in itself, the special boy syndrome, is what bothers us Mgtows, because these guys think they're the little special. I can imagine that he had this mommy that wiped his butt and powdered his balls and made sure he didn't itch at night and gave him the little footies. And there's like he had this perfect little mommy that did everything for him. And he's such a special boy. They're such special boys. And that's what we get today in this society, these special boy life coaches that are just mommy's boys. And they see Mgtow and they hear Mgtow and they're like, ooh, I'm going to have to protect mommy from that. It's garbage. It's garbage. And what it is enmeshment. Me and SFM talked about this. These boys get over enmeshed with the mommy figure, the mommy icon. We can see who else does this. There's Lucid. Not Lucid. There's Eli Melas. There's Pete Simon. There's Jordan Peterson. Let's talk about the special joy boy, Jordan Peterson. He does this thing. Hello, Mgtow Thread. Hello, Silence. Who else is in here? Well, hello, everybody. Jordan Peterson does this thing where he's the special boy, and his mommy must have powdered his little nuts and he kept him from shaffing when he was a little boy and taught him how to be a good little Christian and everything. And he perceives that Mgtow has some problem. And what does he say? He says there's the archetype female, and he gives some pictures from some old Babylonian myths that and he goes, follow me so far? And I'm going, no, I don't follow you at all with this. I don't follow you where you're going with this. All you're doing is saying there's a problem. That's these guys over here, these Mgtows. There's these Mgtows you have a problem with up, and you put a little tiny arm, maybe in the middle of their chest, and you go, look, there's something wrong with these Mgtows. They have a malady. And nobody else can see it, but half of his lame brain followers will go, oh, I see it too. It's a little arm. It's sticking out of their chest. And it's freaking delusional. It's called group psychosis. It's called, it's a folie de famille in the French. When we look at psychosis and how psychosis is developed, these are the same thing. They agree with the leader. We see this in Trump syndrome. We see this in Jank and Anna Kasparian. Their leaders, they can say anything bizarre in the whole world, and all their little followers will go, "Oh my God, yeah, they have little arms sticking out of their chest," and they'll believe it. And they'll believe it. And it's tiny arm syndrome, and it's delusional. It's mass delusion is coming. There was a whiskey did on mass dancing syndrome, and I think that's what whiskey was trying to get, the mass delusion of the blue pill mind. And when we look at this mass delusion, we look out at the blue pill mind, and we look at the religiousness of it and the things that they do believe. And some of those things are very absurd, and they rub against the grain of the very universe they live in. They believe that the women are the princesses and the queens, and they believe that they believe that you yourself as a male are having a baby when you're not. You're not responsible. That's her biology. They believe that you have to take care. There's this metaphysical responsibility that comes with that, where you have to take care of this special princess for the rest of her life. And then they will guard that. They will guard that. And that's what we get with the Melases, with the Pete Sampers, the Jordan Petersons that are constantly coming at Mgtow with these bizarre metaphysical ideas. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the difference between metaphysics and reality, and the brain and the mind. And we're talking about things that are far outside of what the mind would even think as being logical. That's usually religion. That's usually religion. And you notice these, we have a couple of guys that are just off the charts with this religious stuff. And Joe, if you just believe in God, all this will be. And I'm not saying I believe in God. I'm not saying I don't believe in God. I have just never met him. I have just never died. Why ask me something that's totally unreasonable for me to believe? I've never died. As soon as I die, I swear to God, guys, I'm going to come back and let you guys know. Well, that's impossible. But we get a lot of blue pill delusions. And we got a lot of guys that think that we have to participate in the social norms of mating rituals. And if we don't participate in that, there's something wrong with us. We have a little arm sticking out. And I think that these people so tell on themselves, and they so tell on their delusional, that's what they're actually thinking. And what they're thinking is very delusional in itself. It's very delusional to think about a whole group of people of having a malady that you can't even describe. You ask most Mgtows nowadays, what is the Mgtow philosophy? They have no idea. Yes, most of these life coaches, what is their life coach philosophy? What is that thing that you're going to share with me that's going to change my life? And their only answer to that is, you can be like me, which we know is a fallacy. Anytime someone says to you that you guys are wrong, and your only thing in life that you can do to solve that wrongness is if you can be more like me, that's a fallacy. That you don't trust them. Eric Clary does this very well, the be like me fallacy. You can be a banker. You can, and we don't even know of these things, because most of the people coming with these things, they're the PUAs. They're telling you they're jet setting around the world. They have millions of dollars stuffed in their big britches, and it's falling out when they run. They're getting mad ass. They got girls jumping over the rails trying to get to them. Well, that's just ridiculousness. And we look at Rouge V. You can look at Rouge V, jet setting around the world with all the ass in the world. Just buy his book, and we find out he's living in his mom's house. Who is those cats over there? The little bartender guy. He's going to give you advice. You as a Mgtow. He's going to give you as a Mgtow advice on how to be in life. And that advice, if you were more like him, without even really knowing you. And then we find out, oh, geez, yes, I want to work as a bartender. No, that's craziness. But if you ask them, they're millionaire playboys, jet setting around the world, scoring ass as they go. What a delusion. But that's the Eli Melas, that's the Pete Sapper, that's a lot of these guys, these coach delusional coach syndrome, the Semper, the Melas Semper syndrome, I'll call it, because nobody else has named it, and it's delusional. And they come at us, and most of the guys just, we get so sick of seeing it, but we don't know how to react to it. Well, I know how to react to it. I just reverse the psychology on them and say, hey, man, what is with that big mole in the middle of your head? Even though they don't have a big mole in the middle of the head, you're doing the same thing to them as they would be doing to you. What is with that little arm you got? Why are your legs so freaking short? And then maybe they'll start getting the message. I'm trying to read some of the messages, and some of them, I'm sorry that I can't, let me show them, because they're YouTube, unless I let them moderate my streams, they're not going to let me they're not going to let me have any fans. So, but thanks Silence Ace, thanks Steve for coming around. Hello T-Bo, haven't seen you around in a while. It's always good to have you around. Rick Rolls, the Colts only love the bad boys. I don't even know if these guys qualify as bad boys. Most of these guys putting on a leather jacket and talking tough just seems like they just seem like the regular jackass. You're lucky the guy. The guy that's like, you're lucky I'm not going to beat your ass today, as he's running away from you. Everybody's had some of that guy in his life. I used to call it little guy. I used to drive this little car. It was this little Avio around. And there's big guy in a little car syndrome. You get these jackass little punks. They have a big truck, and they think that big truck makes them special and makes them bad. And they would cut me off, and they would do things, and they'd yell at me as they went by. And then I would climb out of that little Avio, a 300-pound guy with 20-inch arms. And then it was, oh God, big guy in a little Avio, and they get this thing in life, and they're probably usually 120, 130-pound guys with a leather jacket, and they're like, oh man, you're lucky, you're so lucky today, and they drive away as fast as they can. Yeah, I was so lucky. But that's what I think about these life coaches too. Eli Melas, I mean, that guy, he said he beat up his his ex-wife's boyfriend, and I was thinking, Jesus, what was that guy, about 102 pounds? It's like, Christ, I could imagine Eli would have a hard time beating up a 14-year-old girl. But that's what we get in. This guy's telling you, every single one of you guys, that there's some illusionary, imaginary fantasy in his head that there's something wrong with you because you're a Mgtow and you need to be more like him. It's craziness and it's delusion, and we see it almost daily around here. Every time I go to the today, I type in Mgtow, and then I go today, and I want to see who's making Mgtow videos and what they're saying and what the general pulse of Mgtow is. And then during this thing, there's going to be some jackass like saying, Mgtow, you guys are so wrong if for some reason, but the answer always is, if you were more like me. It's like, I just start laughing. The one thing in my life that I don't need is to be like every other blue pill jackass. I hate older brothers. Yeah, I got one older brother. Never lost a fight and never will. Steve Hoka, I can believe Steve Hoka could never lost a fight, but Eli respects some of the monks. Yeah, he does. He likes me. I don't know why he likes me. Maybe it's because I'm so real. Eli's funny. But it's insulting, is what it is. It's insulting to you, and it's insulting to me, and it's insulting to Mgtow. And Mgtow gets insulted. And we get tired around here of being insulted. It's like, what possibly, what do you see in me that possibly needs fixing? And it is like they got a whole bunch of things that they've made up in their head. Well, you're not getting enough. Well, I don't talk about them things. I'm a monk. I will never in my life. And that's what they see. If I'm not being braggadocious about my sexual conquests in life, then there's something wrong with me if I'm not being braggadocious. And that's one of those telltale signs of an immature jackass. If you're not being braggadocious, you got to one up each other. There's the one up shit with being braggadocious about your conquest. And if I did tell you about my life conquest and how many times I've done that in my life, they would say you're lying, Joe. And we've seen this already. Oh, you're lying about that. You can't possibly. You can't possibly. So I refuse to talk about it. And that's what monk's about. Monk's about when you get to this stage of comfort in your life. And you, from 18 to 80, any guy can do this, where he gets into the stage of comfort with what he is, who he is. He looks deep down into his soul and he says, man, I just can't do this thing. I just can't do this thing that all these jackasses want me to do, because it's like being in high school every single day. I don't want to be in high school every single day where I got to come up and it's a measuring contest every single day of my life, because the only people they want to measure up to is me, because they're a bunch of whatever they are. I'm not doing it no more. I'm not going to be that stick so they can measure up to it. And it gets old and it gets sickening, and it's the validation they get from that. And this Pete Sapper guy, he's like, his only will in life was, his only thing he does is he runs around and tries to pick up girls, and then he pats himself on the back and like, I'm the man. That makes me feel good. Maybe he lost his mommy that used to powder his nuts with the baby powder and kept him from chaffing. I don't know what his problem in life. And Eli too. I mean, he just looks like that sissy that was raised in California, that had he was over a mesh with his mommy, and she's no longer around to powder his nuts, and he's looking for someone to replace that validation he gets, someone to tell him, oh, you're such a special boy. You're such a special boy. And it's the special boy syndrome. Every boy gets to play shortstop. Every boy gets to play on, even though they're the little whatever they are. We're not allowed to say that words because it's socially insensitive. Every boy gets to play now. Every boy gets a trophy. And it's just weird, and it's ridiculous. But with that, every boy gets a chance to be narcissistic little jerks too. Every boy has a certain amount of protection that keeps them from reality in this world, and the reality that they're keeping from is what you are, because they want to keep you as these things that do what you're supposed to do. These things, you have these manner, you're chivalrous, you go to work, you volunteer your utility so the rest of the world can eat and drive their cars. And then when that wears out, you just walk off into the woods like that yellow dog and die. And that's what the story of that yellow dog was. He just got done with life. He walked off into the woods and laid down and finally after a horrible life, he was able to die. That's what they want for you, because they think that's stoicism. They think that's honorable. And of course, as long as the rest of the world's making something from it, as long as it's working out for them and not for you guys, and not for me, you be that loyal yellow dog to them. And that will get you, it was one thing for certain, one thing for sure, all that will get you is misery in life. But going back to the blue pill, the as long as you don't bother their sensitive, their delicate sensibilities, and that's what you're doing when you're a Mgtow. You're inflaming their sensitive, delicate sensibilities, and you're giving them a little rash. And there's no mommy there anymore to put a little powder on their rash, and they can't deal with it. So they come up and they make up these delusional syndromes in their head that there's something wrong with these guys because you're giving them a rash, and that rash is a red pill rash. They don't want to hear that. They're going, no, 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 it can't possibly be true. I have to protect mommy. And yes, when they hear it, they're going to be enraged. I have to say, directing red pill rage is saying Mgtows are red pill. It's not Mgtows that are red pill raged. It's the rest of the world that gets inflamed when we give them a little rash with our honesty. Now, Mgtow enthusiasm, that's a different story. You could be an enthusiastic Mgtow. You could be enthusiastic as hell. When I look at Angry, he's enthusiastic about what he did. He was enthusiastic. I was like, good boy, keep doing that. You're a boy and you're a simp, but keep on doing what you're doing. At least you got some enthusiasm about that. And that ain't red pill rage. Now, there's the idea in there that these people see something that nobody else sees in the whole world. That's the delusion. That's all the red pillars out there. Well, feminism has hijacked the red pill. The MRAs think they're the red pill. They made a movie about it. They think they see something that nobody else sees. Lacey Green thinks she's red pilled. I don't want nothing to do with that crowd. I don't involve myself in psychopathic delusions. Jung talked about this. Jung talked about the rat boy. The rat boy was Freud's rat boy, and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with the rat boy. And then Jung had to step in and go, Jung, and this is what it is, and it's not all about this, and it's not all about this. The boy is just the rat boy because that's the way he is. But that's what we got. We got a bunch of Jung's rat boys around here. And Eli Melas, he might as well be a little rat. He looks like a little rat too. And the Pete Sapper, they're like little rats, and they're little rat boy. They're easily inflamed about something traumatic that happened in their life. In the case of the rat boy, dad left. He left the family, and every time someone brought up that rat boy syndrome, he got inflamed, and he flamed out on everybody. He raged out on everybody. He was in the army, and the nurse, until Jung talked to the nurse and asked the nurse, what's going on with this guy? They thought it was some kind of disorder from getting bombed and stuff. No, he was the rat boy. He'd flame out every time one of the colonels or one of the captains or some authority figure reminded him of his father. He just berserko. And we get this, and we get this with a lot of the boys around here. They're berserko. Things make them berserko. They're easily triggered, and Mgtow will trigger you. Nobody came around here thinking Mgtow was going to tell you all these truths, and these guys were not going to get triggered. We expect them to get triggered, but we don't expect them to act like the rat boy. Little rat. That's what me. God, just looking at that dude sometimes makes me sick. Eli Melas and Pete Sapper. Just looking at him makes me sick. That's the farthest thing from the world. I mean, when you're as pretty as I am, too. I mean, Jesus Christ, when you're as pretty as I am, them saying insultingly that there's something about them that I want to be, that's ridiculous. Most Mgtows are just normal guys with normal attitudes, normal jobs, and they like their normal lives. And that's what they like about the world. They like their normal lives, and they don't like them interrupted. And they don't want people stealing from them. They want to know where their credit card is at night. They don't want someone picking their pocket. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Not wanting someone to pick your pocket while you're sleeping. Not wanting someone to lie to you, saying, oh man, if you marry me, it's going to be a life of wondrous unicorns and daisies and sunshine and rainbows. And then finding out at the end, that was just what they can get from you, how they can ride on your back. Mgtows were aware of the idea that it's all about resources in this world. It doesn't take a lot of extra brain work or some red pill knowledge to know that these bitches ain't loyal. And they want one thing. They want you to take care of it. They want you to sacrifice your body. They want you to be stoic. They want you to be chivalrous. They want you to be their protector and provider. Why do you think that them two words resonate in the blue pill world? Protector, provider. They want you to be exactly that, their protector and their provider at your own cost. It's like Dougie. I say this a million times. Dougie wants everything. He wants 2 cans of food a day. He wants his dry. He wants his bits. And if I get a chance to sit down for 1 minute to eat my sandwich, I'll cut that in half, give him half. After he eats that, he wants the other half too. That's what it's like living with a woman. They don't want half. They want the whole thing. And you will starve yourself out in life, and you will go hungry if you let that happen to you. That's why I talked about extreme altruism. Men are extreme altruists sometimes, and we have to stop being extreme altruists. We have to think about ourselves sometimes. I'm not saying that you can't be a good person. I'm not saying you can't go help the homeless. I'm not saying that that's not a great thing to do. What I'm saying is be careful. And there's a whole world of predators out there. There's a whole world of predation out there. Everything eats everything. Don't get eaten. Like I said the other day, don't be the foolish blue pill praying mantis that lines up in that line to get your head eaten off. Because it happens every time. A Walt means all. Yeah, we're going to do all praying mantises are like that. All women are like that. They all bite the head off of their mate and use it for food after they mate with them successfully. Hey, Dougs, I was talking about you. Dougie's out now. He was like, some bitch, were you talking about me? He is a passive-aggressive little dog. Yeah, and it's okay to say that, Steve. It's okay to say that in life because a lot of them are. Well, the first thing I notice around here is you weren't allowed to say that about them. You weren't allowed to say that they're the a-hole. I mean, that girl's just an a-hole. And they'll go, oh, no, not the sweet little angels. The sweet little angels could never be an a-hole. No, a lot of them are a-holes. And I know that's cathartic, and some of these guys go way overboard. I love when Jerry Lou come around and he learned the C word, and he was just popping that off like it made him feel good. It was like, she's a, I'm not even going to say it, but the C word. Yeah, they are a-holes. But that's part of gynocentrism. That's why we say gynocentrism. Because you're not allowed to say that. They're all the sweet little angels. They all got no maladies. They're all just like those angelic, like they got wings and this glow about them. They don't do nothing wrong. They're all like my mom. No, no, they're not. No, they're not. But if you ask Eli and you ask Pete and you ask some of these guys around there, there's something special that we need to protect. Rick Rolls, yeah, yeah. That would be a compliment to most of the females, the chicken heads that I know that run around here. That would be a compliment. They go, "Oh, thank you. That's much better than I get called nightly." That's funny. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the life coaches and how, I mean, you're gonna go around, you're gonna just be happy, you're gonna be eating some Cheetos and drinking a Pepsi and watching some and you're gonna get the Eli's, you're gonna get the Pete Sempers, and first thing they're gonna make is this presupposition that there is something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. And if you were more like them, if you were more like them, that your life would be better. And what they're saying is if you're more blue pilled, if you're more of a simp, if you needed more validation from women, if you were a PUA and you needed all the validation from every woman you ever met, and every other guy in the world doesn't have anything that close to what you got, if that's what you want to be, you ain't a Mgtow. Mgtow's about being comfortable with yourself. Mgtow's about taking a deep introspection into your soul. Mgtow's about just being groovy with life. I don't want all that validation. Matter of fact, I don't want none of it, and they can have all of mine. They can have all of mine. And just because I carry a different ideology in my life doesn't mean I have a third arm or a third tit. And when we're speaking about that, that's basically what they did in that's what they did in a lot of times. The Inquisitions, they were looking for a third nipple on people, like that was gonna, it was a telltale sign that they were evil, and they would delude themselves into thinking there was a third nipple. They started saying the third nipple was invisible and it was in the middle of your head in the Inquisition period. Now we go and we look and we spread that out over history, and we see public recantations. And if you made a public recantation and accepted God into your life, that would somehow save you from being drowned. People draw up delusional garbage in life, and they're the same people. They've always been the same people. They were the same Nazis. They were the same people in the Inquisition. They're the same people in Iran that did public. They're the same McCarthyists. We see that now. They're the same Trumpists. They're the same alt-rightists that think everybody else in the world is wrong except for their delusional idea of a third eye. Mgtow doesn't want that. Mgtow doesn't believe in it. It's just go away. Jesus, people, go away. You know, at some point in the history of the world, we're gonna have to wake up and go, man, I just can't deal with these people. And how do we breed them out of existence? Because they keep showing up in history and they keep doing bad things and they have little understanding. They must be the Cro-Magnon man. They must be apes still, because they still don't understand this in which we live in. They still don't understand the universe in which they live in. It happens over and over and over again. And I think that's what Mgtow's seeing. We're seeing an evolution in men. We're seeing an evolution in men where we're starting to consider ourselves as humans, as human beings too. And that's not a bad thing. That can never be a bad thing. Having a little ego about yourself, having a little hoops about yourself, thinking I'm okay and I'm worth waking up to in the morning. When I want to see that guy in the mirror, hey, he's pretty good. He looks like this, and he's fucking pretty. There's nothing wrong with you. And never let these guys drag you down so bad that you go asking for help from some retard life coach that has no idea how the world really works. He's just going back into the blue pill and going, there it is. There's your cure. Go back to the plantation. And there's unicorns out there. And she'll take care of you like mommy did. Little powder for your balls. There you go. See, now you're not shaffing anymore. That's not Mgtow. What is Mgtow? Mgtow's a lot of things. There's a lot of different threads. If you were to ask any one guy, he would give you one of 100 threads in Mgtow. Mgtow's confidence. It's a little bit of arrogance. It's a common respect for your brothers. There's a lot of little things. You can be a Mgtow. You can be a lot of things in Mgtow. You can think your own way in Mgtow. What are the common rules? The common rules is we don't believe in religialistic marriage, about some delusional, a delusional life force between man and woman that bonds them forever, or until she gets unhappy and divorces you and takes all your shit, because that's really useful for them. There's no magic links in this world. There's no magic unicorns, and there's no other place that you're going to get to. You know where the best place in the whole world is? Right here, right down deep inside of you. And as soon as you get in touch with that, you're freaking Mgtow. As soon as you get happy with yourself, yeah. But we're going to have a lot of detractors. They're going to come around and they're going to try to make you feel bad about yourself. They're going to say you have some little arm coming out of your chest, and only they can see it. But just believe them, like that third eye. It's not real. And of course they want that. They want your money. They want your worship. They want to feel that they're better. And they're not. And they haven't quite figured out how to get better. And you guys know how to do it. Just believe in yourselves. Shut all that garbage. Shut all that minutia. Start believing in yourselves. And that takes a deep look down into you. And it takes a deep sweep on that street. Get rid of all the garbage. Throw that away. Man, life is groovy. And that's what being Mgtow's about. Life is groovy then. And that's all I wanted to say. I have some problems with some people that are around here, and I have some problems with their delusional disorders they carry and they project onto us. How do we take care of it? I don't know. We just have to say it and say it loud. You're not a Mgtow. Please go away. But then we get accused at Mgtow of some other Mgtows that believe there has to be this Menonism where we all love each other. And that includes loving the blue pill guys, even though they're delusional. And that's delusional in itself. So, God, wow, what a complex problem. No. Easy fix. Easy fix. Just start thinking about it right. Great song by The Clash. Probably one of the good ever. The Clash. Love The Clash. That was big when I was younger. The Clash. The Clash was big. Groovy times rising. Yeah. Have a life. Have a life. And that comes through you. That will come through your actions. No one else is going to do that. There's no validation, some magic validation from some girl that's going to make everything okay. She can love you to death, but that ain't going to make everything okay, because it's going to take these two things right here, these two strong arms to forge anything in the world. And that's what you need. And you need to be real in touch with those two strong arms. It won't come from no magic place. But the most sickening thing in the whole world is watching a simp. And that's what I see when I watch a lot of these guys. Watching a simp. How much validation do they need? How much validation do they need to pump up that tire? That's a lot. That tire stays flat all the time, and they're steadily pumping. There's a hole in that hose, and there's a hole in that idea. You can have a million of them, and not one of them is going to fill a hole in your life. And that hole in your life is only you. You got to fill that. The gun show. The gun show. Oh, yeah. But that's it. And that's all I wanted to say today. Don't be an Eli. don't fall for that stuff. And with God's sakes, when you see it out there, just tell them, hey, man, you got a big head. What's with that big head? Or just start laughing at them like I do. And I asked them today, I says, man, why do you have one little arm? If you go over to Pete Sapper, he's mad as hell at me because I said, why do you got one little arm? Because it's an analogy to what he's doing to us. He's perceiving Mgtow as being somehow having this grand malady that only he can see, which is a delusion. I guess the only way to deal with those people is to treat them the same way. When Eli comes around, I don't know, call him a rat boy. Why are you such a rat? You got big little rat teeth, and you look like a rat. And don't put up with it, and don't be nice. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say today. That's the only way to deal with these guys anymore. And most of all, thanks for coming around, guys. Thanks for being Mgtows. Mgtow.